Buenos días, bienvenidos a todos. Soy Ramón Pedrosa, responsable de comunicación y relaciones con inversores de Lleida.net, y os queremos dar a todos la bienvenida por acompañarnos hoy en la presentación de los resultados del primer trimestre del 2021. A lo largo de la presentación tendremos la oportunidad de conversar con Sisco Sapena, consejero delegado de la compañía, y con Arratio Sandizaga, CFO de la misma. And I will say this in English. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the presentation of the earnings results for the first quarter of 2021. It's a pleasure to having you, all investors and analysts, with us today. And I will introduce our CEO, Sisco Sapena, and our CFO, Arratio Sandizaga, that will run us today through the work and the strategy we've been executing in the past 3 months. And without further delay, Sisco, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Ramon. Welcome, everybody. I realize that most of us, we use Spanish as a mother language, but nevertheless, we told the audience that these have to be held in English, especially for the analyst that comes from not coming from Spain. Okay. Here we are. Ramon Pedrosa, who is basically the media manager, who is helping us with the relationship with all the investors and the stock world. Okay. Also with me is Arratio Sandizaga. Arrate, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Okay. So, because things that we are, especially during this morning, we decided to do it in a smaller environment that the one that will be held on this evening. Obviously, we are totally open to answer as many questions as you may have, and don't bother you if you interrupt us. So please ask your questions, and we are here basically to answer, and also as a way to demonstrate the willing of being as much transparent as possible, because obviously we are a listed company. Okay. So we have many pages in front. So Arrate, would you mind to display the presentation?
Yes, for sure I can. I've got the ballot, yes. Sisco?
We don't see the presentation.
No?
No.
Directions. Now?
Next page, it's a blank one, a gray one.
I don't know what is happening because I see everything. I'm gonna stop it again.
Let me check. I have it here also. I'm gonna do it myself.
Let's try with this one.
In the meantime, if any of you has any problems, please make sure to write it down in the Q&A section, and we will give the floor to everybody in due time.
Do you see anything that I'm sharing or not? No. I don't know what I've done. Oh,
I'm sorry. Now Cisco is who can share the PowerPoint. Are you trying this in Cisco?
No, let Arate do it for the last time. If it's
Okay.
not possible, I'm gonna do it by myself.
Okay.
Okay, let's try for the last time because I don't know what's happening.
Yes.
Yes, I've got the PDF format, but I think it's enough.
Yes. Control L.
Control L.
L. Yes.
No.
No.
Control L, not working.
Okay.
Cisco?
Yes.
We can see it.
Yes, do you start or do you want me
Yes.
to start, please?
Well, I have to say that, well, so sorry, we found the first bug when it was finished and published, okay, regarding the amount of euros that we earned during this first quarter. It's 3,091, sorry, 391,000 instead of 3,000. Well, obviously, during the first quarter, the SaaS have been the champion, okay? And thank God, until now, the SMS was the main revenue stream, okay? But now the SaaS is gonna be, now it's 40%, we publish it in that way. And we hope that on the end of the year will be around 50%. That's why we finally decided to publish the production numbers, because we are going into a more production-like company, okay? In a way that we charge per transaction. So it's like any factory that produce a car, like Tesla, and a company that have many industries that produce many products, okay? And we charge each company for its product, and in our case are the contracting certificates, okay? Also, we are becoming a world-class player. Well, 36 countries where we build and we generate invoices is the proof that we are becoming a totally multinational company. And obviously, well, I hope that in the near future we are going to generate invoices to many other countries. Okay, now we have 203 granted patents and customers in more than 160, and obviously, we're going to do it obviously better because we have a streamline of new contracts and so. And the highlights of the products, highlights of the period. Obviously, what we are going to do during this presentation, I'm going to explain a little, but Arate will explain the pure numbers that are coming in the next slides. But again, our focus or in innovation, being a more international company and have moats against others with intellectual property. Also with internationalization, this period we have founded a new subsidiary in Dubai that will distribute our products in the Middle East and Africa. Also, more innovation, developing more things, investing almost the same in R&D as the other quarters and in the coming years. And regarding the financial, obviously, the board of directors proposed a 25% increase regarding the dividend that I hope will be accepted by the general shareholders meeting. Okay. Also, we have a change in the sales mix. We were an SMS company in the past years and quarters, but we have to remember that we have done our IPO to become more a SaaS company, to get resources to develop the SaaS business. And we are being quite successful in that, because now the SaaS is 40% of the revenues of the company. The SMS solutions, well, it remains around 17%, and the wholesale dropped from 57% of the income to 43% of the income. Have to know that obviously the pandemic and the different environment changed a lot of what happened with the company and with the environment, boosting the SaaS, and obviously letting the SMS and the ACX part, the wholesale part, well, in a weaker condition. Okay, next slide. This is more for you.
No. Okay, here we have got the P&L, but as we will comment the big numbers in the next slide, first of all, we will comment the sales, and then we will go in the other numbers that we have. First of all, the sales, they have maintained the same level of last year, but the evolution of each line of service that we have is very different. As Cisco has just mentioned, we have got an increase in the SaaS division due to the pandemic, most of them, because the growth of the market has increased, and we are now in a low-touch economy, and people need to contact their customers and sign contract using digital services, as Lleida.net service that we have and we have developed during these years. Lleida.net is a leading player in this market. We have always said that we have to invest a lot of money in R&D. Innovation is a must for the market and to continue being a good player there. And we have got also a lot of capacity to adapt to our customers' need. Then what has happened in this division is that the international sales have also increased. We are now an important player in Latin America, where we have got a lot of activity in Colombia, but they are still working very good in Peru, or even right now in Dominican Republic. And also what we want to do for the next year to come and for the next period, including this year, is to open new market. Last year, we hired a new sales force. There are 4 opening markets in Europe. Cisco has just said also that we have just opened another subsidiaries in Dubai for the North African territory, but also for the Middle East. And it's the way that we will manage to increase our sales. Then what we have also noticed is that our customer hasn't left our company, but they have increased the average consumption of our service. And they also have included a new product that we are developing, and they consider that they fit to their necessity. So as I just say, we have increased 46%, and right now we have finished the quarter with 1.6 million euros in this division sales. If we talk about the wholesale in SMS, it has a different evolution because it has decreased 25% in relation with the same quarter of 2020. Here, the market is one part of the market has completely disappeared due to the pandemic and due to the lockdown of different countries, because we do not travel anymore. So we don't receive our airplane tickets by SMS or hotel reservation. And I hope it will be back during the summer when everybody will have the vaccine and this market will appear again. But what we have noticed also is that the big players in the market, who are the different operators, have seen how their roaming income has disappeared, and they should compensate this income lost. And what they have done is to increase the termination fee of our service in SMS. So the gross margin of this division has also decreased due to this fact. And the last line, it's the commercial SMS. It includes all the SMS that we send to direct customers here in Spain, mostly of them. And it has increased a little bit, 4% in relation with the same quarter of 2020. And the margin here also have decreased because there's a lot of competence here in this market. Cisco, you talk about the production?
Yes. Well, this is the first time that we decided to publish the production data. Basically, because we are turning into a more industrial company in a way that we charge per transaction, okay? And we decided to publish that data, that especially this data, it's being published, especially for the analysts. I know that many of you likes a lot this kind of service, this kind of data, okay? And the first production data that we offer are the workflows of our customers, meaning that these are the workflows made by customers to generate contracts. Okay, this is the click and sign up API. You see that during the first quarter in 2019, it was just 180. Started to boost in 2020 with 400, and again in this 2021 boosted again into 666. Okay. We decided to put all the information quarter to quarter because it's the best way to realize the increase, because we have to think that we are becoming a totally populational company in a way that that humans do affect us, and especially when humans celebrate the last part of the year. Everyone is doing contracts, everyone's doing things, everyone is trying to finish the year. So usually the last quarter is the biggest income quarter. It is a quarter with bigger activity. And the first one is basically when most of the companies are still wondering what the hell we're going to do this year. So that's why we decided to apply it quarter to quarter instead was following quarters. And it's one of the typical questions that was made by some of the investors in the last meetings. Well, it seems that there's a decrease. No, it's not a decrease. It's human activity. Okay, you have to check it quarter to quarter, and that's why we publish it on that way. Next. You see that obviously when like any factory, when you build a factory, the next day it's not in full production. Okay, needs to be on testing, needs to start, needs to check it, to verify that everything is done all right. And so that's why during the first quarter in last year, the number of transactions were just 100,000. Okay, but now it's being boosted, but around 3.5 times the production date of the last year. Okay, and you will see that if we are just trying to do some kind of forecast, Well, myself as a CEO, well, we joined the CFO and myself, and we smile. Okay. Next, please. Yes. Also the same for registered emails. Obviously, in 2019 was good, nearly 1 million. And during the beginning of the first quarter in 2020, you have to remember that lockdown was made at the very end of the quarter. But we see in this first quarter of this year a full production, nearly 4 million registered emails. And we think that this will continue to grow like the others. Okay. We see also that it's the same as in the previous years. People started to do tests. People realize that it's good. People realize that they are saving money using our services, and they start to use it on a industrial basis. Next. For the registered SMS, well, here you see and you realize one of the first results of the big contracts that we signed last year, okay, especially during the last quarter, because South African Post started on production. We don't see them in this first quarter, but I'm sure that we are going to see it in the coming quarters. Basically, because they have done a big effort in order to start to do it on production, and they have to digest the results and the conclusion on everything. But I'm sure that in the coming months we are going to boost again that kind of service. And regarding the registered SMS contract, again, it's more or less the same. From 19 to 20, we doubled the amount of transactions, and it's doubled again in this first quarter. We have to remember that especially this kind of service is especially used by utilities companies, till now mostly Spanish, but again, it's growing, and we hope we may have it on the same proportion in the coming quarters.
Okay.
Yes, it's your turn again.
So we have seen that the sales have decreased 1%, but the gross margin has increased 6% until 2 million euros in this quarter. Why? Because as we've seen, the SaaS sales have increased, and they have the higher margin in the company. So we will see that when the SaaS will be more important in the global sales, the gross margin will increase accordingly. But we have to mention also that as most of the sales have come from the international part, we have to pay a fee to our partner in those countries, because they are the responsible of the direct sales force that they have. And we pay them a fee which is much higher than the one that we have if we did directly as in Colombia. For example, in South Africa, we go with a partner, but in Colombia, we have got our own sales force. And also we have been talking about wholesale. Wholesale, we have said that the termination fee of the big operator have increased, so the margin has also decreased in this part of the company. And in talking about SMS, commercial SMS, also there's a lot of competence, and we have had to decrease the price of the sales, so the margin also has decreased due to those facts. Right now we are in a gross margin in relation of sales of 50%, when last year in the same quarter it was 47%. We will talk before about EBITDA and EBITDA without capitalization, or cash EBITDA. Then we will explain how the general costs have evolved, okay? So first of all, EBITDA has finished the quarter with 620,000 euros. It represents 31% of the gross margin, when last year it was only 22, I think, yes. And it has increased 46% in relation with the same quarter of last year. And we also talk about EBITDA cash or EBITDA without a capitalization. What does it mean? That we don't include the income of capitalization of R&D, and does mean that is really the cash that we do with our activity. This quarter is that increases 67% in relation with last year's results, until 427,000 euros. Earnings, result before taxes. Cisco, as the first sentence here said, we have finished the quarter with around 400,000 euros, 175% higher than the last year. The result, the financial result, has increased because we haven't got as much debt as we had last year, and also because we have got an income due to the evolution of the currency exchange that we have with our subsidiaries. With our subsidiaries, we have several loans that we have to change the exchange rate, and it has generated 49,000 euros, but it doesn't mean that this is reflected in the cash of the company, because it will be reflected when our subsidiary will give us back the money of this loan to start the activity. That's why we give the loans to our different subsidiaries. Capitalization is, I've said before, one of the must of the company is to still develop our product and to find new product that fit with the customer's need. And we are still dedicating a lot of money to this R&D. We have hired more people in R&D department. They are all of them, or most of them, are seniors, and they have the ability to develop very fast the needs of our customers, because we should not forget that it's a market who is going very fast, and if we do not invest money in this R&D, we'll be late in 2 or 3 years. We will be out of this market. This year we have increased in 50% in relation with the last quarter of 2020, and right now it represents 5% of the sales, the money that we invest in R&D. Another thing that we think is very important for the company is the talent, and to include new people that have got the capacity to increase our sales and our income very fast. That's why we have also reinforced our staff in the commercial side. Last year we hire a new one. We make a new department for the European size, but we still hiring new people, for example, for Peru, also for Dubai. Right now we are 105 people working for the company, and that's why we have increased the cost of the personal cost in 60% in relation with the first quarter of 2020. External costs or other costs include the cost of flying, of travel, of different events that we assist, and also the cost of new advisors for developing new product or for going to new countries. This quarter it has decreased in relation with the same quarter of 2020. We have finished the quarter in 566,000 euros. It represents a 40% in relation of sales. It has decreased because we cannot move from Spain, most of us. All the events that we are assisting are still in virtual, as the one we are doing now. And we will see in the next quarter how it will evolve. And as you know, we do not give in the quarter result all the balance sheet, but at least we give some numbers about the financial debt that the company has got. It's the third quarter that the company has got a negative financial debt. That means that we have got more available cash than the one that we have to give back to the banks. This quarter, we have finished with a net financial debt negative in 2.2 million. And it represents, if we take the quarter of the EBITDA of the quarter and we multiply with 4, it represents 0.89 when it was 0.97 at the finish of the year. What we have done with the debt this year, this quarter, we have signed a new loan with a Spanish bank of 500,000 euros with very, very competitive interest rates. We will invest it in R&D, but also in internalization, in patents, and everything that is important to continue growing in those markets. But what is important is we have the ability to still generate cash with the activity that we have. And we have finished the quarter with an available cash of 5.6 million. And that's all.
Yes. Now it's time for, well, it's question time.
Should an investor have any question, feel free to raise your hand or just write it down in your Q&A. And if not, we will probably ask Chomin to start. But that's the Lleida.net tradition.
Yes. And don't worry, we're going to open, because, well, we are like in a family, we might open the microphones.
In a Lleida.net tradition, Chomin is raising
the hand.
his hand. Then if you can please allow Chomin to speak.
Yeah, for sure.
Monsieur
Chomin?
Hi. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to start the question round. So I have two questions that one of them is about the one of the slides itself, and the other one is about the big picture. So first of all, the first production data data piece that you have given is the number of active circuits of click and sign API per quarter. So yes. I would like to get a little bit more clarity on what do you consider an active circuit, and the time lag that it takes from signing a contract to a customer to consider the active circuit. So my understanding so far is that if you sign a contract with a client, let's say in January, typically the circuit might be plugged in, not active yet, let's say 4 to 6 weeks later. And then when the client starts transacting, it might take an extra month. So the contract that you sign in January, it's plugged in February, and then you may consider it active in March. And if the client needs to deviate the flow of transactions to the circuit, probably the circuit will ramp up and we will see like the full potential of the circuit, let's say another 2 months later. Would you say that this is approximately correct?
More or less.
Okay, please develop, Cisco.
Yes, for all an active workflow, it's a workflow that have, no, let it display it, please. It's a workflow that have any activity during 30 days. Okay, and when we say it's per quarter, obviously it's the activity. This is the highest activity that we detect during 30 days during this quarter. Okay, because the rate that we use is 30 days. Mm-hmm. So probably this 666 will be the results of March, which is the usual, well, during this this quarter have been the month with the highest activity rate. Okay, but it's just 30 days. If, for example, if it's a workflow that only had activity in January, okay, it's not here because during January that workflow didn't have any activity. Okay, so what we put here is the month with the most activity during that quarter, because the rate is just 30 days. What we consider a workflow with activity is 30 days. Okay, so in the workflow that you mentioned, let's say that what we have seen is that from the starting to put it on production, the timeline is being reduced. Okay, a year ago, the people were taking 2, 3, 4 months from the starting to check and so and put it on production. Now this time frame is being reduced. I may say that usually it's the workflow when they start in January, they put it on production in March, in 2-3 months. But also keep in mind that the companies, when they started to use workflows, they are much faster in putting them on production. Let's say a big customer that we have that uses a lot this service, Zurich Insurance Group. Okay, obviously last year they took some time from the starting to put it on production, and now it's less than 2 months. Okay, and here we include all the different workflows. One company may have 2 workflows or 10 workflows. Okay,
Right.
And we go to the next slide. The production is the total amount of production per quarter of that workflows that we have shown in the previous slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the adoption is becoming faster. It's becoming faster, and probably the average will be in 2 months from put it on production, from the starting to put them on production. Because the customers are being used to use the product and service, and they realize how easy how easy it is to develop and implement the APIs.
I see. So that's actually great, right? Because your capacity to add new circuits into production is going, before you had moves, let's say of 20, 30 per quarter, and now you can get a bump of almost 100 per quarter, which is great.
Yes, and the best thing is that the amount of workflows don't rely on our commercial capacity. It's basically the willing of the customers to develop more. Because once the customer enroll, they have the facility to create themselves as many workflows as they want.
I see. So what you're saying is that once a circuit is plugged in, the clients have more capacity to add an increasing number of transactions in this circuit.
Not only, but also to add more circuits.
Also to let's say to duplicate the circuits, so
yes.
that
yes.
Let's say that one customer that has one circuit active for one let's say department can
yes.
get in an additional circuit for another department.
Yes.
So you are basically capturing an increasing share of the wallet of the client.
Yes.
That's great.
It's not the perfect way to explain it, but yes.
Very good. So that was my first question, and then I think that it will be extremely useful for us investors to understand what are your priorities for this year, especially in 2 sides. One of them is on the product side. So how are you going to expand your product portfolio and to sell more things in more places? That is the part number 1, and part number 2 is regarding your international expansion itself. So what are the milestones that you might want to achieve in this year in terms of especially the SaaS business? Of course, I think that Arate already explained very well what do you expect for the traditional business.
Yes, regarding the products, obviously we invest a lot in developing new ones. Okay, that probably during this year we are going to market them. But obviously, please allow me to reserve that information when the time that this product has to be marketed. So, but don't worry, we invest a lot and in developing new services that we are going to present during this year. Okay, usually some of them takes years to develop. Some we are going to present some of them especially devoted to the European market that takes a long time to develop, but are going to be products related to ADAS, which is the European standard. And regarding the priorities, well, Arate explained it a lot, but at the end, what we are going to do basically is trying to replicate the verticals that we have been successful in the past months and past years, try to develop and implement them in more countries, especially the verticals made by telecom operators and national post companies. Okay, actually, we provide services to 6 national companies, and we are boosting our efforts in order to provide it to more national post companies in other countries. Actually, we provide that service to 6 countries. There are 204 left in the world, 210 countries in the world. Well, there's a huge road to go, still to go in front. Okay, but this and also regarding the numbers, well, that's why we have the analysts that they provide the information that they think that we are going to do in the numbers, because we don't officially provide this kind of forecast. That's why we have the analysts. Okay, and also I recommend you to check Guillermo's analysis. It's being published this morning, and also Mathieu. He published his one, but it's in French. He promised to me that it's going to be translated to the English right now. Okay, and another one that is being made in the US by Mr. O'Neill have been published last week. Okay, and also he promised to me that he's going to publish an update with the numbers that we published yesterday.
That's fantastic.
All right, there is, thank you, Chamin. There is a question by Paul Mendes. Have you observed the pressure on prices because of the crisis?
Well, in the SaaS, in the SMS part, yes, absolutely yes. Okay, it's one of the reasons why the gross margin have been declined during the last months. Also, it's a very commoditized industry. Difference of not milliseconds, but millicents. Maybe the difference from having or not having the contract or the traffic. This traffic usually is very promiscuous. Okay, it's not marrying with anyone, changes from one side to other, and especially now because the telecom operator raised up the termination fees. It's a pity for the market and for the service and for the amount of revenue that we go. Regarding the other part, the SaaS part, a pressure on the crisis. Well, during the last investors meeting, I was explaining that the typical difference between the red oceans and the blue oceans. Okay, red oceans, when you have big competence, each one beating themselves or beating us between different competitors, and the blue, this is being split in the water. Also, the blue ocean, it's very easy to present and to conquer market. And in this market, we are creating the oceans. Okay, we see pressure, but usually when you see a lot of pressure, we prefer not to continue this fight, in a way that if we think that we don't get what we expect, the real revenue that company have to get, we prefer to leave it, because we have a huge amount of people requesting our services in the blue oceans. Okay, this don't mean that we don't fight in the red oceans. Okay, but we are not desperate in a way to obtaining the contract and dropping down the gross margin and the revenues for the company. If we see that if we are not expecting to get what we consider a prepaid revenue, we prefer not to continue and let to do it for the others. The market is growing a lot. The market is being developed, and we are creating the oceans in that way.
There is a question from Mathieu. Mathieu, the mic is on.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly
Yes.
fine. Thank you so much.
Okay, fine, thank you. Yes, Cisco, I will send it in English as soon as possible, I promise. I seize the opportunity to ask you two questions. The first is, I wondered if you have visibility about the next quarters in ICX, because there are several things that play, meaning the health crisis, of course, and also the competition from operators. Do you have an idea of where it goes for the next quarters? Do you expect an improvement if the health situation, we hope, improves in the summer? That's the first question. And the second one is on external services costs reduction. You mentioned in the communiqué digitalization of processes that help you reduce some costs. Should we expect this cost to be lower than before the health crisis, even if you can start to travel and go to new countries again? As a percentage of sales, for example, do we expect this kind of cost to be structurally lower than before? That's my two questions.
Okay. Regarding the first question, well, I have to say that like any politician, I like you to ask me that question. Well, I have to say that one of the characteristics that Lleida.net size is and I don't know if in English it's right, the survivability. Let's say that the capacity to survive from many of our own departments. Okay, ICX is one of them. It's not the first time that it gets a crisis. Okay, in a way that suddenly dropping 25% of revenues or income in very short matter of time. Okay, I think that this quarter reached the bottom. Now the sales are starting again. What we have done is not basically looking for new horizons, in a way that we are now sending more to different countries instead of the same ones. Okay. Now, for example, Middle East and Asia is growing. During, for example, last year, especially before the COVID, was Latin America. Okay, but because hospitality disappeared, Obviously, that traffic is not here and it's not anywhere. But we hope that in the coming months we'll reborn again, okay, and we will get more numbers in with the ACX, okay. So we hope, obviously, not in the same amounts as previous quarters that, well, we were astonished in the growth that department had. I remember even 70% growth from quarter to the next quarter. I don't think that is gonna surprise us in the same way, but obviously I'm sure that we are going to be happy because we see that the numbers, we see that on every day on the numbers, we check them every day, and the numbers are growing again. It's reborning again, okay, that department and the revenue. Regarding the costs, well, because the company is shifting from more pure telco company to more SaaS company, let's say that, well, yes, we reduced a lot of cost because we are not traveling, okay? But I think that in an average, the cost will be reduced because we are going to get more revenue from the SaaS. SaaS have a higher gross margin, okay? So in relationship between revenue and cost, we'll have more revenue, we'll have more income coming from SaaS, and the relationship between cost and revenue will be reduced from previous years. Probably not as much as last quarter, okay? Because last quarter have been the top, and now we are, well, we are not traveling the same way as we have done during not the previous year, but 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But well, we are starting to take planes again. Okay, my wife has started to complain again of not being at home during the week. So life is coming to normal. Well, what normal it may be now. Okay.
Cisco, but
Okay.
we should also mention that we are also investing in advisor to open new markets. So it's also included in other costs, in external costs. Okay, Mathieu?
Yes.
So in that way, as Cisco mentioned, I agree with him, we will decrease the rate between external cost and sales, but not as much as this quarter.
Okay, it should pick up in maybe in Q2.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. Helpful, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mathieu. There are no further questions. If there's anybody else who would like to ask anything else, if not, I think Cisco will close with our thanks to the attendants.
Well, thank you very much for coming to hear us. Obviously, you are also invited to the webinar that we have this evening. Will be with small investors. We don't have to forget that the small investors are the core of all investor scenario. Okay, we have 3,200 different investors worldwide. Okay, and obviously we have to attend them. We are doing these 2 separate events, especially by and we are doing by suggestion of one of our investor who raised hands, and it's usually raising always hands, and he noticed that we attend the repetitions, okay, they request his requests. And well, nevertheless, thank you very much. Thank you for attending, and see you in comings. Probably even maybe at before the end of this month. Okay, we plan to publish audited results, and probably we'll do another webinar explaining all the audits. Okay, and then we'll be probably or at the end of the month or the beginning of the coming month. Okay, thank you very much, and See you again in coming webinars. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.